The history and future of WWE Bad Blood. And this comes from the Anthony Lanetti Show. So if you want to subscribe to his channel, the link is down in my description. And by the way, don't forget about me, okay? Come back if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button on this channel as well. Without further ado, let's get into this video.
WWE Bad Blood is approaching, and I wanted to talk about the history of Bad Blood here today on the Anthony Lanetti Show. And if you're wondering, why is there no Scoop Slam report? I'm currently on vacation, and we should have a live video next week for you,
guys, sorry.
Talking a little bit about the aftermath of SummerSlam and what's going on currently in the world of professional wrestling. If you can, hit the like button and make sure to hit the subscribe button on this video so you never miss another video from the Scoop Slam report or just an upload from the Anthony Lanetti Show. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Bad Blood.
Let's get into it.
WWE used Bad Blood first on the In Your House loop when WWE was starting to kind of get rid of the In Your Houses. Used to be a monthly thing for WWE to do the In Your House, and it kind of have a specialty around it. And Bad Blood was one of those specialties that happened in 1997 after SummerSlam. The big storyline that year was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. And that is simply because Undertaker got hit by a chair by Shawn Michaels. And Shawn Michaels did that on accident. He wanted to hit Bret Hart because they were currently feuding, and their feud would also continue in 1997 as the Montreal Screwjob happened at Survivor Series later that year. But sticking with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, Michaels promptly turned heel after this and didn't really apologize to Undertaker, and then instigated him alongside Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, with D-Generation X forming.
Oh my God, man. This has me in so many different emotions. First and foremost, I'm happy about what I'm seeing right here. Like, look how young they were. RIP to China. What a time to be alive. And a beautiful title there as well. Like, I know people can go back and watch it on Peacock and watch it on YouTube. But, bro, I know people say this all the time. But being there at the time that all this happened, there's nothing ever going to be like it. I'm not trying to discredit y'all, but I'm just trying to tell y'all the truth. There's nothing going to be like it. I like the fact that you guys can go back and watch it, but it's not the same. Now, the other thing I feel is that I feel so old, bro. I feel so old because the way that he's talking about this time period, it feels like when I was a kid, when they were talking about stuff in the history, like the Anglo-Saxon tribe and all these different things. I feel like that's the way that he's talking about it. And some people are weird about younger people talking about the time that you lived through, but you can't even hate on the guy because he's accurate in what he's saying, bro. It's so crazy. And seeing Triple H and Shawn Michaels at NXT over the weekend or the past couple days ago, seeing how they look now compared to how they look in this photo, bro, I'm getting up there, bro. I'm getting up there. That's all.
A match at Ground Zero in Your House, and then they had a In Your House Bad Blood match, which would be the first ever Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
Which put this match type on the map. Being the first one, sometimes some first concepts don't always work that well, but Hell in a Cell definitely worked for these two. And it was also hell on the outside of the cell because they went to the very top. Michaels, was on the side structure and actually fell off. Undertaker stomped on his hands, and Michaels took the table bump. And that was even though, Mick Foley would do something a lot more crazier and spectacular, still a big bump to take off the side of the Hell in a Cell.
It is.
And these two had a really good Hell in a Cell match, and it actually debuted a wrestler that you might know by the name of Kane.
Big Red
That was
Machine.
when Kane debuted in the WWE and ripped the door of the Hell in a Cell off of his hinges and came in and tombstoned his brother, The Undertaker, which started their feud, and Michaels pinned Taker, and that kind of wrapped up what they did. I believe they had a casket match at the Royal Rumble following, but Bad Blood is...
That's crazy. I think that's Earl Hebner, who's the referee in that photo. He always looked the same, bro. Like, that could be a good thing since he's older now. He still looks young, or he's young, he look old. I don't know whichever way you want to take it. But I do remember when Kane debuted at this Hell in a Cell. This Hell in a Cell was great. And I'm thinking, like, Kane, this guy's wearing a leather turtleneck out in, like, the spotlights. How is this man not cooking? But here's the thing. This is my favorite version of Kane. And I also love the fact that with this Hell in a Cell, just the spot, it was just, I felt like Shawn Michaels died, and then later on I thought that Mick Foley died in his. Like, it was just, as a kid, it was just crazy to see. Now, as far as Kane breaking into the Hell in a Cell, it reminds me of when I was in Chicago at a spot and we were watching Hell in a Cell 2018, I think. And first and foremost, people were upset about the poster because it had Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman because they looked like demons on there. That's a whole different conversation for a different channel. But the thing is, a lot of people were pretty mad about that night. They were pissed off because they watched that show for a long time to get to the end just to see Brock Lesnar do exactly what Kane did here, break into the Hell in a Cell. And one of the most funniest parts was that Paul Heyman pepper sprayed Mick Foley in the eyes. And I'm like, bro, this man barely has teeth. You trying to take his taste buds and his eyes? Can he have something, bro? Can he have something? And then that happened. Brock Lesnar came in, hit Braun Strowman with the table. I think he hit Roman Reigns with another half of that table. F5 both of them, and then it ended in a no contest because both men weren't able to continue, which does not make any sense in the Hell in a Cell. How are you going to call that? But when it comes to Brock Lesnar, they have special rules for this guy. So after leaving the event, people were like mad. People were like arguing with the girls, about to get into fights. And I was like, I get it. That ending was stupid. It was kind of like a cop out, but I wasn't that mad about it. I was more upset about the way that the Hell in a Cell looked at that time when it was red. And whoever made that decision to turn it red, you need to be in jail right now, bro. That was terrible. That was bad on the eyes. And to me, it looked like dry ketchup. It looked like people took a bunch of Twizzlers and glued them together. And I'm sure for the people live in attendance, that was really bad on their eyes because they did it for that one. And they also did it when The Fiend and Seth Rollins had their match at Hell in a Cell as well. So hopefully they never go back to that color, bro. Please, for the love of God, don't do that ever again. Thank you.
And that kind of wrapped up what they did. I believe they had a casket match at the Royal Rumble following. But Bad Blood is really where Michaels and Taker had that grudge feud. And it kind of ended, it kind of went off for a little bit up until 2009 when they got to wrestle each other again. That time it was around the Streak and WrestleMania. But you can see how WWE used Bad Blood as a catapult to, you know, show how these two guys have a grudge. They have a personal issue against each other, and they're going to settle it in the ring. WWE would then bring Bad Blood back to its pay-per-view schedule in 2003, 6 years later after the first one. And Bad Blood replaced King of the Ring, which used to be a yearly pay-per-view, and in place would be Bad Blood. And the main event would be yet another Hell in a Cell match. This time, it was Triple H against Kevin Nash for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Nash had just come back again from injury. You know, the famous quad thing. I get it, yada, yada. I actually like Kevin Nash a lot, though. So I show respect. Show respect to the Big Diesel. Kevin Nash returned after another injury, and he was interjected between Triple H and Shawn Michaels and their rivalry. And Nash took the side more of Michaels because Triple H was starting Evolution. That kind of was taking off in its beginning stages. And the two had a match, Kevin Nash and Triple H, at Judgment Day, where it went to a no contest. Famously, Nash jackknife powerbombs Triple H through the announce table. And then we go to Bad Blood, and these two men have a Hell in a Cell match. This time, the Hell in a Cell, it's one of the few matches in Hell in a Cell history where the match actually stays inside, you know, Hell in the Cell. Whatever. Anyway, Nash and Triple H would have, you know, a Hell in a Cell match at this pay-per-view, and Mick Foley would be the special guest referee for it. It's somewhat of a hidden gem.
And given the fact that both these guys, like, you know, like kind of, I don't want to call both of them injury prone, but, you know, in a sense, you kind of don't want to do the spots that other people did in Hell in a Cells in previous years. So I can understand why they kept it inside the cell.
I think these two had a pretty good Hell in a Cell match. I don't know how high I would rank it, but I definitely think these two men lived up to what Hell in a Cell, you know, should be, how the match should be.
Yeah.
And lived up to the brutality of it as well without having, you know, to go to the outside or go to the top of it. It's a very, you know, inside the cage kind of match, which I liked. Triple H would end up retaining the world championship, and Nash would kind of stay around with his feud for Triple H, but it wouldn't be, you know, to the same level. After Bad Blood, Nash went on to kind of do some movies and would end up leaving the company around, you know, I think he had a match in the Elimination Chamber that year at SummerSlam with Triple H and Goldberg and Randy Orton and those guys. But, you know, this was where Nash and Triple H's feud kind of ended up until 2011. But this is where really it ended over the World Championship, and after the whole kind of friendship thing with Nash, Michaels, and Triple H, the Click. This was something to highlight though about Bad Blood, because again, it shows a grudge match, that Hell in a Cell kind of vibe between Triple H and Kevin Nash. Then we get to 2004.
And that photo just kind of remind me of like just Triple H saying, we're going to take this 2x4 with barbed wire wrapped around it. When's the last time they've done a spot with the 2x4 with barbed wire? It's been a long time, bro. It's been a long, long time.
Kind of capitalizes off of what 2003 did, but on a much, much higher level with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Because Michaels and Triple H feuded all the way since Shawn Michaels came back to the company in 2002. It involved Nash, it involved Evolution, Ric Flair, Batista, Randy Orton, RVD, and so many others on the Raw roster. And this is where the Michaels and Triple H feud ended, was at Bad Blood 2004, where these two had an incredible Hell in a Cell match, very bloody match as well. This is probably more the well-known Bad Blood Hell in a Cell match, up with Taker and Shawn. Again, because Taker and Shawn is the first one and it is so good, I don't know if Triple H and Shawn, I don't think anyone for that matter could really live up to what Shawn and Taker did in that first one. But these two had a great Hell in a Cell match, and it was years of buildup from 02 to 04. And Triple H would end up beating Shawn in the Hell in a Cell match. And I thought, it was a really good Hell in a Cell match. Like I said, it really, when I think of Bad Blood from especially that year or the last one, I think of that. I think of that Hell in a Cell match and the grudge match between, these two friends, now bitter enemies. It just fits so well perfectly. And I think that's why WWE have decided to bring back Bad Blood, because in WWE right now, you have a lot of bad blood. You have the bloodline, Solo Sikoa leading this new bloodline. Whenever Roman Reigns comes back, maybe he comes back at SummerSlam. This video is taking place before SummerSlam. But, you have this new bloodline. They're going after Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is again in the bloodline thing with the world champ.
And speaking of that match too, I think it's going to get gruesome. It's going to get bloody between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, not speaking of the match he's talking about. I'm talking about something else. It's probably going to end, if they were going to do some type of spot with somebody actually falling off the Hell in a Cell, which I highly doubt, but if they do decide to do that, it's definitely going to be Drew McIntyre falling off of there. I can't see CM Punk falling off of there. If he does, given that he's injury prone, I don't know if they're going to try to flip it into him retiring after that the fight was so brutal that he got to the point where he had to retire. But then Drew McIntyre is going to get the win off of that, and he's going to be yapping after that about the fact that he put the end to CM Punk. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting as time goes on to see what they're going to do next after like watching more of older Bad Bloods that I missed. And it's like, at first I wasn't really that much interested in this match. The storyline is great, but I just like, okay, we got to end it now. But now I'm starting to get a lot more excited about the match with the possibility of what they can actually do in that cell. And I'm a huge fan of Hell in a Cell, so this is going to be very interesting.
Championship involved in it. You have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Kind of this love triangle that Dominic Mysterio is.
That's got to end there too.
And then you also have CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, which, seeing how SummerSlam goes, could eventually be Rollins and CM Punk. Because we haven't got to see that yet. That was supposed to be what was going to happen at WrestleMania 40. So there's all these different things that can happen in WWE right now. It is definitely the perfect time to bring back Bad Blood as a PLE and add it to your PLE schedule, because you can do a Hell in a Cell match. Now, I don't know if WWE will end up doing one, but the rivalries that they do have could end up, contributing to one, because some of them will have to end, and not everything has to end at the big PLEs like Survivor Series and etc. You can have some feuds end at Bad Blood, and some of them might even catapult into other ones. And, one of the things I think about is if Rollins does accidentally screw CM Punk out of beating Drew McIntyre, much how they did at SummerSlam in '97 with Shawn and Undertaker.
Wait a minute. this video, hold on, let me see when this came out. This came out 1 month ago. But it's October. He's like, okay.
We see these two having a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood between Punk and Seth Rollins, and maybe Drew McIntyre moving into the World Championship picture.
So this was made before SummerSlam.
Then you also have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I don't know when the last time we got a women's Hell in a Cell match, but I think these two could definitely have a women's Hell in a Cell match between Rhea and Liv Morgan. I think, the build has been there for it. And, to throw out a wild card, imagine if Roman Reigns does come back. You got some bad blood there. Roman's coming back for his bloodline. Roman and Solo could totally do a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, this is definitely
you can see the amount of Hell in a Cell matches WWE have put on at Bad Blood and this PLE, this pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. So I'm very interested to see what WWE goes for here.
Because so it looks like he's going to go into like what do you think is going to happen at Bad Blood, and information that he has, which is no fault to him, is based upon what he knows previous to SummerSlam. Because obviously he talked about the fact if Roman Reigns come back, we all know that he came back at SummerSlam. So it's like, everything that he's going to say here is pretty much going to be reflecting that period of time. But at the end of the day, really quick history lesson. There's not a whole lot of history when it comes to Bad Blood besides what he said, but this is a great video. Again, go to his channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, again, me and the Flex Zone podcast are going to do a live stream for Bad Blood this Saturday. Do me a favor, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to their channel, and yeah, I can't wait to see you guys there. So let me know what you guys think about his video in the comment section. What is your favorite moments at Bad Blood? Let me know. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a great day.